Welcome to the Investor Coaching Show, a podcast to help you get an insider's view of the financial world and escape common investment traps. We look at the financial news of the day and help you make sense of it so you can relax about money. And here's your host, Paul Winkler.
Okay, we are back here on the Investor Coaching Show. I'm Paul Winkler. Of course, you can check out the show by subscribing to the podcast at paulwinkler.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also find us on YouTube. Just check out Investor Coaching Show out there on YouTube, and you can see our Relax About Money set, which is just gorgeous. I just love it. Sitting here in these couches, hanging out with Jim Wood, talking money and investing. And okay, so Robinhood's at it again. One of my favorite investment firms to pick on. I've got to pick on them again.
What are they doing now?
Oh, you just wait to hear what they're doing now. A lot of younger people I find are really into, and they had some bad press a couple of years ago with what's called order flow. They were dealing with their order flow. Where they directed trades was to market makers that they actually got paid more by. And that was some bad press. But, the other thing is sports betting, a lot of that kind of stuff. What is investing? Really, what is investing? What should it be versus what is actually happening out there? A lot of people think things are investments, but they're not. And it's really easy to gamble when it comes down to it because we have been given the ability to gamble in our living rooms these days versus used to be that we have to go to Vegas to gamble. But check this out.
In our living rooms, in our car.
Oh, yeah.
At Starbucks, at
in the park, whatever. yeah. For example, yeah, exactly.
There's a casino in your pocket.
So check out what they're doing as far as investment management. Who can manage your investment portfolio now? This is something.
Joe, it's great to see you. Yeah, so Robinhood is letting AI pretty much take the wheel here. So clients are able now to connect outside AI agents. So think of ChatGPT or Claude directly into a brokerage account and then trade on their behalf.
They're going to let AI trade on your behalf, take over your investment portfolio, and you don't have to worry your pretty little head because AI is going to buy and sell stocks for your investment portfolio. Oh, it gets better. Keep listening.
Happening in a separate account. Robinhood says there are safeguards involved here. Customers can limit access, ask for sign-offs, and then disable it if something does end up going wrong. This is rolling out.
Okay, you can disable. You can protect yourself, though. You can disable it if AI goes rogue. What is going to be the sign that things have gone badly? Let me ask you that question. That you've made money? No. You have lost a bunch of money. Then you can disable it. And what have you basically done when you disable it? You basically lock in the losses. So yeah, you're right. That's really great for you, isn't it?
In the next couple of weeks here with equities, but they do say that options, crypto, and other asset classes are going to be coming next.
Okay, so they're going to let you do equities, stocks, another word for stocks, and commodities, which, as we've talked about before many times, are not an investment. So we're going to do that too. So this is going to be really academically based. Guys, you can just count on that, as well as other investments. Jim, what do you think? I mean, it sounds like a great thing, doesn't it?
Well, I just hear this thing, and certainly, what could go wrong?
Yeah, what could go wrong? Exactly. Oh, my goodness.
I'm going to hook up Claude to my AI, and I got this great system. I put in a bunch of prompts. I've told Claude what to do, and I got a bunch of agents going on. And I just, I know a few
the government is going to take care of you, though.
But the whole thing is there are safeguards. And for those of you that aren't watching the YouTube's video, that gives me the air quotes, safeguards.
Yeah. And the government is going to be your safeguard, right? Think twice.
This does mark the first for the brokerage industry. AI so far has largely been used for advice. We haven't actually seen it go off and execute trades, at least for retail investors. Robinhood did tell me they designed it around the current regulatory structure. It is the latest sign on this technology's move.
So it's based around the current regulatory structure, Jim, which that gives me great comfort, knowing that this is completely legal.
Well, yeah,
we can do this. We don't have to worry about, the regulations, the government regulations allow this type of activity. So, and this is where, and I'm telling you, this is something that I just want to really get you to think about. Quite often we think, just like when we're dealing with the food industry, or we're dealing with, let's say the housing industry, when we're dealing with, let's say you have somebody that codes, for example, electrical codes, that somebody's watching the process so that the electrician's doing their job so that the house is not likely to burn down. So that they're watching to make sure that what is being done is safe. I'm telling you, the investment industry is not subject to those same constraints. We're not seeing it. And you can hear it right here that we're staying within the regulatory confines that are out there.
Moving beyond just chatbots, and it is a test for how comfortable customers actually are letting AI fully manage their money. And then there are also some questions about how good this technology is overall at picking stocks. Robinhood does warn AI agents can make mistakes, misunderstand instructions, and generate losses. Says at the end of the day, the customers here are actually responsible for activity in their accounts.
There's your deal right there.
Yeah.
There's your deal. Buyer beware.
Pretty much sums it up.
We can make mistakes.
You always look to that. It's just like, why are they doing this? Why are they doing this?
Oh, out of the goodness of their heart, right?
Yeah, it generate trades, right? Generate
No. How cynical of
commissions, it's not that, they're going to help increase the wealth of all the people on Robinhood that are going to do this or everything. And, there'll be a few people that do it. Maybe they get lucky. Or there'll be a lot of people that do it. Maybe a few get lucky. Or, and something like that. And those are the stories they tell. So-and-so invested $5,000 and his AI bot turned it into $10 million and you'll hear stories like that. But what you don't hear is that, how many people have lost money, it's just one more way to gamble. People, you don't invest in something you don't understand.
Yeah, well, exactly. And they did address what you just said there. Yeah, Jim, how do they benefit from this was addressed in the course of
being not great for Robinhood at times. And I think about,
you think something goes wrong?
No, I think about the times I'm leaving things just sitting and whoever I'm leaving it with is getting my float. And I'm not sweeping it. I'm not doing maximizing the return that I can get, and Robinhood gets to keep, or whomever it is gets to keep it right now.
So
I think Joe's making an important point right there. He made the point. He says, I'm not able to maximize. I'm not necessarily managing my money in a real prudent in a real prudent way. And he made the comment that how do they stand to benefit? And this, Jim, I think this is important. My point here is that if you can get the investment industry somehow, some way, the mutual fund industry, the ETF industry, the financial industry, if you could get them to understand that if you would just do the right thing by the investor, you would benefit. It's kind of like, let's say if you are, this conversation comes up an awful lot. If you're in contracting or in the construction business, I think this is a key point that I like to make, is that so often people don't like to hire contractors. They don't like to hire people to come in and work on their homes because, and there have been commercials about this, people doing what they say they're going to do, arriving when they say they're going to arrive, charging a fair price, or, it could be any industry for Christ's sakes, that if people would just do what they say they would do, and they would take care of people, I guess is the point that I'm trying to make here, then they would benefit tremendously. Their business model would work swimmingly well. And this is the same thing for the investment industry. If the investment industry would just get that, if they could treat people right and do the things that they say they're going to do and follow the academic research, then what would happen is they would end up standing to gain much more than what they're doing here. But yet they just seem bent on destruction when it comes down to this.
Well, yeah, a lot of people will say that they can do things that they can't. And that's exactly what you're talking about. That's the problem is, people say, well, we're going to tell you where the market's going to go. We're going to place trades that are going to be ahead of where the market's going to go.
So why?
We're going to stock pick. We're going to market time. We're going to do all that successfully. And all the data shows that that's not likely to be the case.
So why do they do it if it doesn't work?
Because it's an easy way to market. It's an easy way to sell.
It is.
People believe it.
You nailed it. That's exactly right, Jim. It is because people believe that this is possible. And I think that that's the key, is if we can get, and this is what I've been doing for 25 years here, is trying to teach that these things are myths, that we can stock pick, that we can use AI, that we can, that we can increase returns, we can market time, we can use track record to increase returns. And that is what they're playing upon, is people's belief that that is possible. And if we could break people of that, then what we would find is then all the demand for this kind of junk would dry up.
The studies, there's not that many studies out there, but some of them show that AI agents on the negative side actually trade a lot. So that
right there. They trade a lot. Who stands to benefit when a lot of trading takes place? You have what is called bid offer spread costs, and you have buying and selling that takes place inside of the portfolios. And who benefits when you're buying and selling a lot? They do. The investment firm does. And that's exactly what they just pointed out there, is these AI agents are trading like drunken sailors again.
Could theoretically be a plus for Robinhood if they get more payment for order flow. You've got thousands of agents out there.
That was the order flow that we talked about a little bit earlier. I was mentioning the comment about order flow is that when they trade, when they send those trades to firms that give extra money to them, you'll see investment firms do this, where they say, oh, there are no commissions on this. We don't have any costs. And they'll show that they're ultra low cost. They're talking about visible costs. They're not talking about invisible costs. These payment for order flows is what she's referring to right there, is an invisible cost of investing. It doesn't show up as a visible cost that you can find. It's that markup. I buy let's say a gallon of milk for this price, and then I mark it up to this and I sell it to you. The difference between what the grocery store buys it for and what they sell it for would be the spread. And that's what we're talking about right here, is the payment for order flow is a spread, and they can increase that spread and you don't see it, is basically the point she's making.
Trading. I mean, you never know.
The whole goal is to get to less and less friction, right?
Right. But they love friction.
And people already kind of do this. If you think about a mutual fund, you're sort of handing over the reins to a human in a lot of ways. If you're a more passive investor, there's a big sort of philosophical question about whether people fully trust AI with their money.
Yeah, and I love that she just went there on the mutual funds. So often people hire these big mutual fund companies because they're well known. I've heard them, I've seen their commercials, and they think surely they're going to take care of my money and they're going to handle it well. But you're doing the same thing. You're handing the money over to them and they're making trades. And I have said for years that a lot of times mutual fund managers are just having a blast with your money, doing things that they probably shouldn't be doing. And then the point that she just made there, even with passive type of things, a lot of times even the passive type of investing, indexing, for example, there are a lot of costs in there that you don't even recognize. And we talked about one a little bit earlier when we have the reconstitution effect. And if you didn't hear that, you can check out the podcast later on and you can go back and revisit the show where we talk about that. So recognize that a lot of times you think you're managing your money, but what's happening is you're handing it over to somebody that's actually doing a lot of the work, and they may be doing a lot of things you don't even know that they're doing underneath the surface. And this is so a lot of things people blindly trust, and I think it's a big problem in investing. Hey, this is Paul Winkler. Hope you enjoyed today's edition of the Investor Coaching Show. If you want to learn more about what we do, go to our website, paulwinkler.com. Until next time, I'm Paul Winkler, reminding you that I believe that more educated investors are more confident investors, and confident investors are more successful investors. Have a great one. Advisory services offered through Paul Winkler, Inc., an SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions voiced and information provided in this material are for general informational purposes only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine what investments are appropriate for you, please consult with a financial advisor. Paul Winkler, Inc. does not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax or legal advisor regarding your particular situation.